I know I've hurt you. And believe me, betrayal isn't... I broke my vows to you. I know I did. And I don't know if it means anything to you, but it didn't mean anything to me. Not a goddamn thing. But I knew it was wrong. I take responsibility for it, I knew it was wrong. How you're ever going to forgive me for it, I do not know. But I am willing, baby. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to earn your trust back. Because there is nothing more important in this life to me than this family. Nothing.
I don't believe a single word coming out of your mouth. All I hear is noise.
Welcome back to the Murdaugh Death in the Family official podcast. For years, Liz Farrell and I investigated how Alec Murdaugh's crimes and influence rippled across South Carolina, and what those crimes revealed about privilege, power, and the people caught in his wake. Academy Award winner Patricia Arquette brings Maggie Murdaugh to life with heartbreaking honesty. Today, Patricia and I talk about portraying a woman too often overshadowed by her husband's chaos. A woman trapped in emotional abuse and coercive control who still tried to hold her family together. Patricia, it is so amazing to finally get to talk to you.
Well, you too. I'm so...
Again, I mean, we touched the party.
Yeah. I mean, here in the
Here,
flesh.
and for the podcast, I mean, this has been the most anticipated podcast interview probably that I've ever had. I'll be very...
Wow.
You
Wow.
are a queen, and I
Oh.
am just honored to be sitting here. So just
Thanks.
gonna start with that. What drew you into the role of playing Maggie Murdaugh?
Well, I was following the case from the news, and you were so instrumental in that case. I mean, as it was breaking and as it was happening, and I don't really know if it would have reached that kind of acclaim, not acclaim, but worldwide reach and that kind of notoriety in the press if it hadn't really been for you and how you were pushing the
Thank you.
story and all of that. So I was fascinated by this case because it was like, how did this man do this? How did he get away with this? How did he hoodwink this family, this whole community? And where's the bottom? As things were revealed, it was like, what horrible thing didn't this guy do?
What else is there? Yeah.
And I still think it's probably just the tip of the iceberg.
I think the only reason why there hasn't been a lot more is because he has several life sentences and he's behind bars.
But I still think pathological people, it just doesn't happen overnight. And I'm sure, it starts when you're young and, you get away with something. And with his access and his family, I think he probably could get away with stuff. And then little by little, these things start building up, and then there's shame and embarrassment if there's discovery. And it takes a lot to be that comfortable harming people and to become that cavalier about it.
There was a moment during one of the hearing, I think it was Alex's sentencing hearing for the financial crimes, and Gloria Satterfield's sister said, Alex, I do not understand you and I don't want to. And I think that's something that's always sat with me. Like, we're never going to fully get there, and that's probably a good thing.
If you've had encounters with pathological people who have some kind of, personality disorder where they are capable of these things, and it is a part of their fabric. And on the other side, they're charming and the best and the most loving. And you feel like when you're in their light, there's nothing better on earth. But when you move away from that, you can become really obsessed, I think, with figuring out who they are. And you never will figure out who they are if you don't think that way.
Yeah.
Because they'll never be a good enough answer for you of why someone would do something. Even when we were shooting this, I kept saying, okay, so he didn't have insurance on Maggie and Paul. Well, why did he do it? And people's different ideas,
Yeah.
of what they thought. I mean, what's your feeling? Maybe sympathy?
Yeah, there are some theories of that he was a family annihilator, meaning that he. Have you heard that term? It's like
Mm-mm.
I heard it for the first time during the trial. They asked him, "Are you a family annihilator?" And I was researching it a little bit and looking it up, and it's basically in his mind, and this is the theory. In his mind, he believed that he was saving Maggie and Paul from the shame that was they were about to go through. And I do think something that's very true to Alex is status mattered. His family status mattered more than anything else, and what people thought of his family. And he did not want Paul or Maggie to be there for when his finances were revealed. But again, we're never going to get there.
We're never going to know. So we could just
We could
go
sit all
down
day.
this
Yeah.
terrifying rabbit hole and never understand. But it's funny, that natural instinct that people have to try to understand
Yeah.
why other people do what they do.
And especially as women, like, I feel like so many women are drawn to true crime because we are too often the victims of it and not the perpetrators. And we kind of have an instinct to learn, like, about crimes and how to prevent ourselves, how to prevent these crimes from happening and how to protect ourselves from these
Yeah, I
crimes.
said that the other day in an interview because I just thought, it's very different to grow up as a girl.
Yeah.
When you're little, it's like, is someone walking behind me? I have to cross the street. Is this guy coming on to me? Okay, I have to make sure his ego's not crushed and he's not offended. And oh, I would date you. I would give you my number, but I have a boyfriend. And oh, you seem lovely. And, how do I back away from this situation without hurting their
And without
self-esteem?
and staying safe. Like, women
Staying
do that
safe.
because if you reject a man in the wrong way, you could lose your life.
Yeah. And you feel that in your body. Like,
Yeah.
I have to deal with this carefully.
So I'm going to smile and be polite, but
Yeah,
but
exactly.
not too polite because you don't want them
Yeah.
too close. Like,
Mhm.
it's impossible.
So, yeah, I do think, watching true crime is maybe a way of like, oh, what did she do wrong? Oh, what did he do that I could see in the future if someone
Yeah.
did such a thing, Yeah, but I also think we've always been interested in this stuff, Shakespeare,
Yeah.
these tragedies, the Roman, and the Greek tragedies. Like, we've always, as a species, wondered, especially in families,
Mm-hmm.
especially with people who claim they love you,
Mm-hmm.
say they love you. How are people capable of being so diabolical?
Yeah.
Hey, pretty lady. I'm sorry it's taken me so long to get here. Things have just been so crazy at the house without you. Not that I'm blaming you, though. God knows how you keep it all together. Papa would be here visiting you, but I just don't have it in my heart to tell him how bad it is. Remember when I used to scream and scream with me when he was a baby? He never cried with you, never. No. You two had something special. And I was grateful for it. And I felt lucky to have you there when I just guess I couldn't be. But I knew that he felt loved. And I don't know how I could thank you for that.
Maggie's life was often overshadowed by the chaos surrounding Alex. How did you approach capturing her voice and her humanity in the series?
Well, being of a certain age, I think I come from a time where um, I was kind of preconditioned myself to look at marriage and family a certain kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was really an incredible thing to do. And I always had that instinct to be a mom. And I really wanted to be a mom. And when you fall in love with somebody like Maggie did when she's young and in college, you overlook a lot of wildness because it's part of the age. And everyone around you tells you, oh, they'll grow out of it. And, this is just a phase. And he's a good boy, but he's just, letting off some steam. And his dad was making things go away. And I think she was really madly in love with him,
Mm-hmm.
and he's charming. This is part of this thing of this personality disordered people, whether they're narcissists or psychopaths or whatever they are. They use charm a lot of times. They also use victimhood. There's a reason Ted Bundy pretended his arm was broken to get help.
Mm-hmm.
And Alec would certainly use that kind of
Mm-hmm.
victimhood stuff a lot too. But I think she wanted to be a mom.
Yeah.
I think she fell in love with him. I think he was charming. And they went through even in the first episode, you see that there's a past history with betrayal, pain,
Mm-hmm.
his bad choices, her worried about that. So working with the writers, we talked about Al-Anon and alcoholics or drug addicts and codependents, what their kind of patterns of behavior are with each other
Yeah.
when they're untreated.
Yeah.
So we kind of tried to do a lot of those don'ts that you're not supposed to do. At the beginning, she's trying to manage his drug addiction.
Mhm.
That's impossible.
Yeah.
But it's so typical
Yeah.
that you're trying to manage this crazy, out of control tiger that's running around in your bedroom.
Yeah.
And you really can't.
Yeah.
It just
It's
doesn't work.
impossible.
Yeah. So I think that the first time I got divorced, I got divorced a couple times, but it was incredibly difficult for me to give up.
Mhm.
To give up. My parents were married till I died. There's something that gets modeled for you. So
Yeah.
I think all of that was at play. I think
Yeah.
the good part of Alec was they were bonded, like they did love their kids.
Mhm.
And they did have fun doing that family stuff.
Mhm.
And they did take pride in that. And they were friends and knew each other since they were kids.
Mhm.
So there was all of that stuff there. But I did a lot of research on all those personality disorders, not just that person and what they do, but the patterns also of their victims and what
Yeah.
it's like when they start waking up to this.
The relationship, and I think you did an amazing job making Maggie a relatable woman that people could understand. Because again, I think that her story was so glossed over for a majority of the time. There was no time for people to stop and think about, like, could I actually relate to Maggie? So she got forgotten in the series, and particularly, and if anyone has been in a horrible relationship, I have too. Um, where you're constantly not being put first. You're putting the person first. She is putting Alex in the center of her universe.
I think she was subconsciously conditioned by
Yeah.
society, by her community to be
Absolutely.
like that and felt like that was love. And as an actor, sometimes you're looking at a part or project and you're going, that's a really showy part. That's like a really killer part. Maggie is happy for Alec to be the quarterback, do the
Mhm.
interviews, be the shining light, charming everyone, making everyone laugh, buying everyone drinks. And I think the way that I perceived her, and from what I'd heard, like she's the one to drop off the casserole when someone's mom passes away, and send the new baby, their outfit, and get together the Halloween costumes and all that stuff. And she was happy to be a support system person.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody wants to be the star of the show, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of people are more comfortable supporting others, and I think she took a lot of pride in that.
Mm-hmm. But you can see that she doesn't receive that love back from her husband.
You know, it feels like it in moments because those kind of people are so manipulative.
Yeah.
And they want to keep you
Right.
giving to them. So when they're around you, boy, they're so
Yeah.
sweet and charming. And
Right.
they love you so much. And you can't even imagine that they don't love you.
Right. I love the scenes where, like, Maggie's so excited. He's giving her attention. They're flirting. And then his cell phone rings. And that's
Yeah.
more important to him. There's always something more important. And you can just feel how devastated she is in that moment. Because I think that she really loved him. Also, it shows the story of a woman being stuck. And you see her realize that I have hitched my wagon to the wrong. This is not going somewhere good.
As weird as this sounds, I mean, I think he really loved her too.
Hmm.
As primitive as his capacity to
Yeah.
love is.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like those people basically need attention and validation so much that whoever's in the room, they need the love from.
Mhm. Yeah.
They need to make you laugh. They
Right.
need to laugh at you,
Yeah.
to make you feel warm, to make you feel connected.
Right.
They're very seductive in all of
Mhm.
these different kinds of ways. I don't think she was, manipulative enough to see that he did that really with everyone. I feel like even at the beginning, she's kind of
See,
on to a lot of his little tricks and stuff, but she's still really in it.
several interviews I've seen that you have phrased this as a cautionary tale, and I kept saying that in interviews yesterday because it's the ultimate cautionary tale of what happens when a woman is in an emotionally abusive relationship with who I believe is a narcissist.
Yeah, I
Pretty
believe
sure we
too.
could.
He seems like a
Yeah.
grandiose narcissist, among other things.
Yeah, if he's not a
I
narcissist,
don't
I'm not
know.
sure who would be. I'll land it
I mean,
at
he
that.
does seem to hit every kind of, telltale sign of them, the 9 things that they say.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not a psychologist, so I can't really say. But, I'm an actor, and
Yeah.
I get to use whatever evidence I think I see to
Yeah.
make decisions because acting is about making decisions.
Mhm. Yeah. At the end of the day, you all have to make, and this is the first show that I've been exposed to, so I see how many decisions that you guys make, and it's incredible to watch.
Kids?
No kids.
What do you do?
I'm a landscape architect.
Wow.
Yeah, I spent this last year on this really big job in Atlanta, and my sister said, "You need a break." So she surprised me this weekend.
That's sweet of her.
Yeah, it is. But to be honest, I'd rather be at my beach house with my dog. It's, really the only place that I can be. Just be.
I absolutely love the Bahamas scenes in the trip to the Bahamas, and specifically where Maggie meets the doctor at the bar and is thinking about an alternative life, like thinking about, and really for the first time, and I know women like this, that I loved that there was a line in there that she just, the woman said that she had a daughter, and Maggie was like, "Your husband allows you to do that?" Just assuming that she had a husband making decisions for her. And there's a lot of women that can relate to that and understand that. And I think it was so brilliant to be able to get into the mind of Maggie and get into her thought process through that.
I think there's a lot of undercurrents going on for Maggie in this. And one is when this accident happens with the boat and Paul, I think she feels terrible for Mallory's family, and guilty too that she let Alec kind of dictate the, I don't want to say that, like, well, that there's no boundaries in this family.
Yeah.
That for years, Alec, in the same way that he got away with everything, he let Paul get away with everything and was like, oh, he's a good kid. You know what? I mean, he's been working hard in school and, oh, you know, whatever little problem it was, and minimizing everything, basically. And when she starts to realize, like, because of you and this story not going away, that Alec maybe is not going to be able to make this be okay for Paul.
Right.
That he's maybe going to go to jail. I think she feels a lot of guilt, like I should have stepped in and just said, no, you have to go to rehab.
Right.
You know, no, you can't drive a car. No, you crashed your car, you don't get another car.
Right.
You know, any of that kind of stuff. And then I think she starts to feel like, I'm powerless. My son may go to prison.
Yeah.
And I am powerless. And that's so sad. Because there's a certain point as a woman when your kids are pretty grown up that you have to start thinking of this other life. Like, what do you want to do? And, or who do you want to be? So I think that's also part of that conversation. Like, where do I start? Or what would my life have been like if I didn't center everything around Alec?
But yeah, that's such a better way to understand Maggie, I think, when you think about her and I hate when people always ask in these circumstances, why didn't she leave?
You don't see that. I mean, there's a reason people get away with all this stuff.
Yeah.
They're incredibly convincing. You even wonder at times if they're convincing themselves about whatever thing that's happening in that moment.
Yeah.
It's like part of what I really loved about Jason's performance was Alec is driving this whole thing all the time, this high octane thing. And it's like from second to second, it's like, I need to feel like a good family man, a good husband. Here we are. You love me. My boys love me. Great. Oh, I got to take care of this other thing on the other side. I got to work on this deal to get money, bring it over here. I got to do this naughty thing over here. I got to have my little secret naughty thing with this friend of mine over here. We got a secrets. Oh, now I'm doing this thing. He is hustling nonstop. His brain is working 100 miles an hour, and it's like his hustle never stops. Or I'm the victim. Well, poor me. Or Randy, my brother, like, oh, feel sorry for me, you know. Even though he's set up these crazy dynamics everywhere he's gone.
Yeah, chaos, it doesn't follow him. He creates
But
it
he
everywhere.
will never get enough from anyone.
No.
So he is always going to blame everyone.
Right.
My daddy didn't do this, or Randy did that. You didn't give me enough, so I got to go do this thing.
Never taking accountability.
Yeah, they're insatiable.
Yeah.
Insatiable.
Yeah.
You need constant attention, constant admiration. I love the first scene where he's shooting all these things with his friends, and he's pulling a hustle on his friend, and he's sabotaged his friend's gun, and he's still taking money from them. Like there's this thing also in these personality disorders called duper's delight,
Oh.
where they actually get a little rise out of tricking people.
Oh, that's sick. But it makes sense. I've listened to all of Alex's prison calls, and I shouldn't have been shocked by this, but at the time I was shocked by this, the amount that he was gambling in prison. And he was bragging over the phone about like, I won this I got 2 beef sticks.
Right.
And he was so happy but you're right. Like they still go after that chase of like duping people. And we've called him the super duper in the podcast. He loves to dupe people and just enjoys it to a sick level that I can't. And again, we don't want to understand it. Like the Maggie you saw sitting at the bar in the Bahamas, the real Maggie loved her beach house in Edisto, and before her murder had retreated there with her dog. In this scene, with Patricia as Maggie and J. Smith Cameron as Maggie's sister, Marion, we learn just how trapped Maggie might have felt in her marriage to Alec around the time of her death.
I know it's scary, but me and Mom and Dad will be here for you no matter what.
Murdaughs don't get divorced, Marion. They are a family of lawyers. By the time they're done with me, I won't have anything left.
Call the lawyer, Maggie. It's just a conversation.
You know, lately I've been having all these memories of when I first met Alec. We had fun. We were so excited when the babies were coming and bringing them home from the hospital. Our first night at our new house. And now looking back on that, all those memories, are any of them real?
And I think that the saddest part is that Paul was never able to have his redemption. I believe he was so young. He could have taken responsibility for the boat crash eventually in another world where Alec would have allowed him. Because you're right, like, kids make mistakes. Kids do stupid things.
I don't know. I think it's so hard to redeem yourself from that,
Yeah.
to let yourself off the hook, to forgive yourself, to get forgiveness from the family.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think he was at a place of, being ostracized after that event, having to kind of go deeper within, uh, where I don't think Alec ever did any of that. I don't think there was ever a moment in his life where it was like, maybe none of this is working.
So, final question. As you reflect on your portrayal of Maggie, what has stayed with you the most?
How seductive people like him can be, and how many more people like that there are. Now, a lot of these people don't end up killing people, even sociopaths.
Hmm.
Most of them don't ever kill anyone. But they can really wreak a lot of havoc in your life. And it's so confusing because they're so charming and so lovely, so warm and so endearing and so diabolical. And I think there's just a lot more of them than we think.
Yeah.
And it's easy to fall in their sway.
Yeah.
Very good at it.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. This was amazing. Is there anything that you wanted to add?
I just want to say that, I'm just an actor and I made whatever choices I made from the education I learned and learning the little bit I could about her, and even like Jason's performance, it's so big and it's got so much going on, like those kind of grandiose narcissists. And even the way he talks is almost performative, like,
Yep.
and part of engaging you and drawing you in. And she grew up from a different area, and she doesn't need to be performative like
No.
that,
Yeah.
and doesn't want to be. And I wanted to honor that,
Yeah.
that you're allowed to take up space and you don't have to be this big showboat,
Right. Yeah.
You're allowed to be loved and you don't have to be tap dancing all the time and like, you can have your interests and be who you are and that's enough because our world doesn't really celebrate those people.
I completely agree.
And I feel really sad about the wreckage
Yeah.
on so many people's lives, I know that we're looking in this show specifically at these family dynamics, and we built them around verifiable patterns throughout time of what is an alcoholic like and a drug addict when they're untreated, and what is an Al-Anon codependent like when they're untreated. How does that play out? And these personality disordered people and their victims, it kind of build those building blocks. But I know that a lot of people's lives were completely devastated in the wake of him and the choices that he made. And there's still so much pain in that community. And my heart goes out to everyone, involved in this. And cautionary tale of, yeah, we can't be that naive. We gotta see when someone's hustling us.
Yeah. Look for the signs. And with Alex, like they were there, they were hidden, but they were there. They were hidden to some people.
Yeah, I mean, he's like a grandiose type, and then there's covert types.
Right. Yeah.
And they act more like the victim,
Yeah.
and they act so sweet and adoring and charming and funny, but that's also manipulative,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird, honestly, after having done such a deep dive and going home every night and hours of watching victims and hearing their experiences and learning about all these dynamics, I'm really cautious of people now. I
Me
feel
too.
much more like, I mean, guys that try to hit on me and all of this stuff and they're really charming, it's like almost repellent to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been in news for a while, and I'm definitely there, and I'm suspicious of most people. And until somebody proves that they're good, I don't really trust them until then, just because there's too much out there. And
Well, they talk about with narcissists like when their mask slips
yeah,
and you literally see this really terrifying person that you've never seen before.
yeah.
And sometimes their eyes turn black. I mean, that's
Used
the
to.
victims account a lot of people about how their pupils dilate and they look like a completely different person. But even if you look at Alex's life, I don't think anything really bad happened to him. And what they're finding is people with personality disorders often don't come from trauma
Right.
and they don't have that excuse.
Yeah.
And many, many people who come from trauma do not become pathological people who are manipulative and deceptive all the
Right.
time.
Right. They're able to break the cycle.
Yeah, I had a conversation once with somebody who was like this as I was, doing research. And they said that they knew they were very manipulative.
Yeah.
And I said, well, do you want to stop being like that? Do you want to change? And they didn't say anything.
Huh.
I mean, I think it's such a defense survival mechanism.
Yeah. Yeah. That's wild. Well, Patricia.
Oh, and control is the other big thing.
Control, yes.
Yeah.
And coercive control, huge.
And just control in general.
Yeah.
This guy, Alec, was controlling all these micro worlds happening and all these little hustles he had going on. And sometimes the best way to control you is by seeming to love you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. With Maggie, it really was. Well, thank you so much.
Thank
This
you.
was so
Thanks.
good.
So great talking to you. And thank you for all your work and for, being on the scene and telling all these family stories. And really, I don't know that there would have been accountability, honestly, if you hadn't been so dogged.
That means a
And
lot.
thank you all, because I know you guys all have worked so hard on all of this.
That's really great. Thank you so much. My conversation with Patricia Arquette about Maggie Murdaugh's story further solidified just how powerful truth-telling can be. Even more powerful than the people who seek to keep that truth hidden. You can listen to our full conversation, including more insights about portraying coercive control, emotional abuse, and the psychology behind Alec Murdaugh on the extended audio episodes wherever you get your podcasts. Next week, we'll go behind the camera with director Kat Candler, who helmed episodes 6 and 7, and costume designer Joseph Lacourt, who helped bring the Low Country's haunting beauty and darkness to life through wardrobe and texture. We hope you're enjoying the original series, Murdaugh, Death in the Family. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment or 5-star rating to give our creators, cast, and crew the praise that they deserve. And don't miss Murdaugh, Death in the Family, now streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.